welcome to tonight's episode of Sacred Spaces. Tonight we're at the Victorian College of the Arts at the South Bank. We're at an amazing place called the Stables. I'm with the architect Kirsten. Tell me about it, Kirsten.
Okay, well, who would have thought that the home of horses would turn into a home for students, but it's worked remarkably well. So, yeah.
It's an amazing story.
Can't wait to show you inside.
Yeah. Now, Chris, you were the contract manager.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience.
Look, the experience for me was fantastic because this was the first heritage building I'd undertaken, so it was a great blend of new and old building materials. So that was sort of what I enjoyed most about it.
Great. Now, Paul, you were the project manager.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Tell me about your role.
Well, look, my role here was to oversee the project for our client right through to delivery. What was exciting about this project was the history and just learning about aspects of the project that we needed to take into the build and ultimately deliver for our client.
Yeah, look, I can't wait for the guided tour, so let's get going.
Great.
So Kirsten, this is a really beautiful space. It's quiet. I love the acoustics. Where are we now?
We're in the Octagon, the ground floor, very distinctive from outside, as you saw, and it's a really good hinge point on the site. So from here you can go to the former riding school there, which is now a performing arts space, or you can head off into the stables wing, which are now the art studios, or you can head through to the central courtyard for the campus as a whole. And if you look up, you can also see to the top floor, which is really beautiful part of the Octagon space.
So were there any particular heritage challenges with this space?
There was heritage challenges with every space, I think, and every brick and paver that could be found. Although this was probably one of the least challenging. It was a very lovely big volume, and so we thought it would be great to be able to show from down here right up into that beautiful roof space, which you'll see shortly from above. But to keep it working as an interchange space and to keep it flexible, so it could be used for just passing through, or you can see lots of sliding panels, so people can use it for seminar space or for exhibition space, events, anything, you name it.
So I think the word is versatility, very versatile.
That's right, exactly. And the school needed the whole thing to operate in many different modes, so this is one example of that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, Kirsten, from stables into art space, quite an amazing transformation. Can you tell me a little bit more about what happened? And
Sure. Well, it was a surprisingly easy fit going from police stables to art students. So you can probably see in this space, each one of these was an original stall, so horse stable. And if we used to have one horse, we've now got two art students. So that's the ratio, 2 for 1.
2 for 1.
Yep. And you can see some of them are just open and shared between two, whereas some of these central walls can actually slide in and divide the space if you like. So these are giving us a lot of flexibility of dividing the studios for those who want a bit more privacy, or just being able to turn it into a space like this that's great pin-up exhibition discussion space.
Yeah,
so
wonderful,
a bit flexible.
Yeah. And Chris, what were more of the mechanics of turning this in? Because it all looks very sort of, easy, but I'm sure there must be a lot of hard work.
It was. It all looks fairly easy now, but yeah, I mean this section in the Dodd Street wing is basically the main section where you can't see much of the heritage original fabric of the building apart from the side walls, but you'll notice all new flooring, new steel structure, new wall cladding, but effectively is just covering a lot of and protecting a lot of the heritage part of the project.
And you can actually see just on that, you can see the way the new walls of the studios sit over the top of the old store walls. So if you look carefully, you get some clues of the original fabric that's hidden. Yep, and it's true. A lot of your beautiful work is invisible, but we know it's there.
One of the main sort of obstacles, I suppose, with the length of the Dodd Street wing was most of it is a timber frame structure with timber columns and then posts and beams everywhere. So we found that over time, 100 years old building, that there was lots of sagging and columns had dropped, so we had to go through and methodically readjust as best we could to marry in this new part of the structure to make it work. So that was probably another area that was quite challenging. So.
This is also a good space to see how for the school the spaces needed to work in exhibition mode or in studio mode, and this is a really good example of how they can easily switch. So day to day during the term, this is how you'll find it, people working away. And then for their big end of year exhibitions and things, it's very easy to transform this into exhibition and gallery space. So,
very clever.
Yeah.
And you were saying that it'd be quite easy to convert it back into a stable.
Absolutely, yeah. The horses have returned, haven't they? We had them here a few months ago for the opening, the horses.
Well, I think that was sort of part of the brief as well, was to try and not affect the fabric of the building. So if in doubt, someone down the track did decide to turn it back into horse stables, you could actually pull out most of the structure that we put in and the new materials and pair it back to the original how the stables were. So that was sort of part of the brief as well, which made it a bit more tricky and challenging to try and cover up a lot of the areas to protect them and preserve them. But as you can see,
it's that principle of reversibility in heritage work. When there's very valued heritage fabric, that whatever we do can be undone.
So Chris, we're now in the heritage slice of the building.
Yes.
Could you explain what that means?
Yeah, so the heritage slice is basically a section or a snapshot of the building that basically from 100 years ago, it's exactly how the stalls were. It's an area where we haven't covered it with new building materials and encapsulated it. We've left it basically so everyone can see it, how it actually was those 100-something years ago for where the horses were kept. As you can see, you can see the original cobblestones, the original bluestone gutter, all of these materials areas where we've continued it underneath our new section of building. And it's just a snapshot basically for everyone to see.
And I think the stalls themselves also, they're just the original stalls.
Correct, yeah. So all the stall fronts, all of the dividing stalls is all the original timber that was, well over 100 years old.
And in terms of the tradesmanship involved, I mean, what was that like? I mean,
so we made sure we got, as best as possible, heritage contractors in who had a wealth of experience and knowledge in this sort of form of building. So they were really valuable in terms of obstacles we came across or problem solving, and we could put that forward to our heritage architect as a proposed methodology or a change and get an agreement moving forward. So they were invaluable with getting the building completed.
Sure. Paul, you were the project manager on this build. So from your point of view, what really were you happy about?
Yeah, look, for us, one of the most significant aspects of this project obviously is its history and its heritage. And we felt that we were really privileged to be endorsed by our client to come along and work on this project. So as a result of that, we wanted to establish an authentic relationship with our consultants early on in the project, and with KTA, the lead architect, our heritage consultant Lovell Chen, and Heritage Victoria, we went about establishing a level of engagement that went above and beyond, probably the average project. So the team and our consultants met regularly early on in the project in order to establish that we were really interested in the heritage and the history, and very respectful of that, and we wanted to honour that in a way that sort of exemplified our approach. So we came in with that attitude, and and we come together regularly to collaborate. We brought about a number of initiatives to the project, and that went really well. It set a culture on the project of trust. And a genuine collaboration to get through the challenges of the project. And Chris might like to talk about a couple of those.
Yeah, sure, Chris. I'm sure there would have been a few hairy moments on a project like this. Tell me about a few.
There was. It was more, I mean, we utilised our trades a lot because they brought a lot of innovation and experience, as I'd sort of spoken about earlier. One main example of that is probably down in the Dodd Street wing, where we had a lot of the original timber columns that were holding up this level 1 floor. A lot of the bases had got rotten, and our brief was basically to replace the bottom of the timber post, put a whole new footing in. That involved a lot of work in terms of pulling up the terracotta cobbles and also the bluestone drain and the bluestone pavers. And through collaboration again, through Lovell Chen and our contractors on site, we came up with a revised design which enabled us to still replace the bottom of the timber post but not pull up virtually any of the terracotta cobbles and the bluestone and the drains, which was a really good outcome, I think, for Lovell Chen, Heritage Victoria and everyone involved really. So that was probably one of the main initiatives.
So it sounds like it was a lot of fun. It was a good learning experience.
It was a fantastic project. We had a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, very challenging. But I really think that those challenges bring a team together, and we had a really strong relationship with our client, our consultants, and the Kane team. So that was great.
And the reward, I think, is what you see.
Yes.
What we see today. So that's why it's invaluable. So
yeah.
So, Kirsten, I really love this blend of the old and the new.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, this is one of the most exciting spaces, the top of the Octagon that you can see here. And it's a good example of where a lot of heritage work is not just what you add, but also what you take away. And in this case, we didn't realise just what beautiful treasures we would uncover once we took out the ceiling that had been here when it was being used by the police. And it was at that point we discovered the beautiful structure that you can see behind us. So we thought, you've just got to show that and celebrate it. And that's also why that hole in the table is another way from downstairs being able to look up to that, because it's, I think, a lot of really good heritage work is that very good balance of not trying to put too much back in, just enough to help enable the building to be used in a different way, but still really celebrate the fabric that was there. And what's special about it is the heritage building. That's right. Yeah.
Thank you. So, Kirsten, so we're outside. This is a nice, interesting area. Tell me a bit about this precinct.
Well, this canopy is really, this was a way to tie in the Grant Street Theatre, which we're walking towards, with the new performing arts space as well as the Octagon and the stables. So it's a linking structure and also gives a bit of indoor-outdoor protected space for people meeting after the theatre and so on. And you can see the structure has a resonance with the beautiful heritage structure in the Octagon. So there's a nice connection between new and old. Yeah.
And Chris, what are your reflections?
Look, I mean, it's further from what Kirsten was saying. I mean, this space down here, we had obviously a working, functioning university that we had to work in and around, and these two buildings were working the whole time. So it was basically interaction that we had to do with the university to ensure that we could keep on building, but at the same time not disrupt the facility.
And Paul, how about an overview from the project manager?
Well, look, I think, overview, it was a real privilege to work on this project. And one of my favourite spaces is this space here, the colonnade, and really it's just about the vibe of this space. I think it's fantastic, and such a privilege to work within an existing operating facility with people that are here and learning, and we certainly brought that attitude to the team, and we really enjoyed the job. It was fantastic.
Well guys, it's been a fantastic guided tour. I've really enjoyed myself. I've loved the experience of the stables of the VCA. Now you know the show's called Sacred Spaces, and so I want to ask you a question. What is your sacred space?
I have many, of course. Always struggle with favourites. But I think probably standing up the top, looking down through the stables, and that beautiful sense of light and volume, and just that lovely repetition of that beautiful heritage structure is for me really sacred.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Yeah.
Chris?
Look, I'd have to say, yeah, like Kirsten, I've probably got a few spaces, but the level 1 Octagon for me is probably a pretty sacred space there, and to convert that into a meeting room and you know, teachers' areas, that space is pretty amazing, I think. So.
Paul, how about you?
Well, look, somewhere different for me is the performance space, and I've reflected on that space from time to time about the history in there and the activities that were once performed in there, and with the horses and the smells and the Victoria Police, and now it's been converted into a performance space, which for the university brings about their talent and their students into that space to show their wares, and I really can't wait to be in that space to witness some of their work.
Well, thank you everyone. It's been a fantastic experience. Really enjoyed it, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've been watching Sacred Spaces, and we'll see you next time.